Imagine, for a moment, the sunny coast of Calabria. This is where the Sposito family's story starts. Young Giovanni Sposito would wake up to the smell of the sea mixed with his grandma's fresh bread. He spent his days helping his dad in the olive groves, where the silver-green leaves sparkled under a warm Italian sun. Family was everything. Sunday lunches were special times, full of laughter, loud talks, and plates piled high with pasta made that very morning. Their roots were as deep and strong as the old olive trees they cared for, showing how many generations had lived on that tough, beautiful land. Now, travel north to the peaceful countryside of Veneto, a place with calm rivers and big vineyards. Here lived the Bianchi family. Marco Bianchi's first memories were of the morning mist rising from the fields and the steady sound of his dad's hammer in the workshop. Their home always smelled of polenta cooking on the stove. Life followed the seasons, from planting in the spring to picking grapes in the fall. Their family was a tight group, where neighbors were like relatives and every party was shared. The Bianchis showed the quiet strength and toughness of the Veneto people, their lives woven into the very land itself. Further south, on the lively island of Sicily, we find the Russo family. Their home was a mix of sounds and smells. The busy market calls, the sizzle of fresh fish in the pan, and the sweet smell of orange blossoms filled the air. The Russo kids played in old stone streets, their laughter bouncing off walls that had been there for hundreds of years. Their family get-togethers were famous, with tables full of arancini, caponata, and cannoli. Life was full of passion, color, and deeply connected to the island's rich and complicated history. The Russos were Sicilians through and through, their spirit as fiery and strong as the volcanic earth beneath their feet. In each of these places, Calabria, Veneto, and Sicily, family was the most important thing. It was where they got their strength, who they were, and endless love. Traditions weren't just old habits, they were the strings that tied generations together. The Sunday meal, the festival for their town's saint, the stories told by grandparents, these were the main parts of their lives. Life was simple, but it was rich in what mattered most, being connected, their history, and a strong feeling of belonging. This was the Italy they knew, the Italy they kept in their hearts, even when things made them leave it all behind. For the Sposito family in Calabria, the years after the war were very hard. The olive groves, which used to be reliable, gave less fruit, and the hope for a good future for young Giovanni seemed to disappear with each year. His parents looked at their son's hopeful eyes and made a very difficult decision. With tears and tight hugs, they sent him to America, a land of chances they had only heard about in stories. Giovanni got on a crowded ship, carrying a small suitcase, his mother's rosary, and the taste of his last family meal still in his mouth. He was leaving not just his home, but a part of his soul, promising to build a new life and never forget where he came from. In Veneto, the Bianchi family faced a different kind of problem. The bad economy left Marco's dad with little work, and the dream of a good future for his children felt impossible to reach in Italy. Canada became their hope, a huge country with promises of work and land. Leaving was a quiet, sad event. Marco watched his grandparents wave until they were just tiny dots far away. He held his father's hand, feeling the weight of what they were giving up. They were leaving behind the familiar green fields and calm rivers for a new, unknown place. Their hearts heavy with sadness and a small spark of hope for what was ahead. The Russo family's choice to leave Sicily came from wanting a safer, more stable life for their kids. The island was beautiful, but it also had its problems. They dreamed of a place where their children could grow without limits, and Australia, a far-off land of sunshine and promise, called to them. Packing their lives into trunks was a very emotional task. They carefully wrapped photos, a few favorite kitchen tools, and clothes that smelled of their Sicilian home. The trip across the world was long and hard, a journey into the unknown. They left behind the lively noise and warmth of their community, armed only with their strength and the strong bond of their family. Each family's departure was a story of deep loss. They weren't just leaving a place, they were leaving behind the graves of their ancestors, the language of their childhood, and the everyday comfort of a life they understood. It was a sacrifice made out of love, a painful choice to cut ties in the hope that new ones could grow stronger in a foreign land. They carried with them the heavy burden of saying goodbye, a sadness that would be passed down through generations, making them long for a home they might never see again. The journey was not just across an ocean, but across a big change in their family's history. When he arrived in New York, Giovanni Sposito found a world that was loud, fast, and a lot to take in. The language was a problem, and the customs were strange. But he found comfort in the small Italian-American community that welcomed him. He worked long hours, saving every penny, but his real riches were in the traditions he kept alive. His small apartment kitchen became a tiny Calabria, where the smell of garlic and basil filled the air. He taught his children how important the Sunday meal was, making sure the table was always a place for connecting and telling stories. The Sposito family grew, and even though they were American, the lively spirit of Calabria beat strongly in their home. In Canada, Marco Bianchi and his family faced the harsh, cold winters and a culture that was much quieter than what they had known in Veneto. They missed the easy warmth of their community, but they were determined to create their own. Marco's father built a garden where he grew tomatoes, zucchini, and herbs, a small piece of Italy in their Canadian backyard. The family continued to make their own wine and preserved vegetables, just like they had back home. The Bianchi children learned English at school, but at home, the Veneto language was spoken with pride. They held on to their heritage tightly, like a warm blanket against the unfamiliar cold of their new country. The Russo family in Australia found themselves in a land of big open spaces and a relaxed culture that was both welcoming and new to them. They recreated their Sicilian life as best they could. Their backyard became a busy spot, with a wood-fired oven for baking bread and pizzas, and a long table for hosting friends and neighbors. The loud, joyful spirit of their Sicilian gatherings was reborn under the Australian sun. They taught their children how to make perfect arancini, and how important family was above everything else. Even though they were thousands of miles from Sicily, the heart of the island beat strong in their suburban home. For all three families, keeping the Italian spirit alive was a clear act of love and determination. It was in the language whispered to grandchildren, the recipes passed down on old stained cards, and the stories told again and again until they became family legends. Food was more than just something to eat. It was a link to the past, a way to share who they were with new generations. These traditions were the strings that kept them connected to their roots, making sure that even as they built new lives in new countries, they would never forget who they were or where they came from. Their Italian heritage was not just a memory, but a living, breathing part of their daily life. Decades went by. The Sposito, Bianchi, and Russo families did well in their new homes. Grandchildren were born who had never been to Italy, yet they grew up with a deep and strong sense of being Italian. For Anne and John Sposito, Giovanni's grandchildren, this connection was felt most strongly through their grandfather's stories. They would listen, completely fascinated, as he described the smell of the Calabrian Sea and the taste of fresh olive oil. A strong feeling began to grow inside them, a wish to see the land he spoke of with so much love, to walk the same paths, and to understand the part of themselves that was clearly Italian. For the Bianchi grandchildren in Canada, the call to return was sparked by a different kind of curiosity. They were proud Canadians, but they felt a pull towards the culture that had shaped their family so much. They saw old photos of their grandfather Marco in Veneto and wondered about the life he had left behind. They dreamed of having the freedom to travel, study, or even live in Italy, to experience the country not as tourists, but as family. This desire to reconnect was about more than just a vacation. It was about claiming a birthright and opening a door to a future that connected two continents. In Australia, the younger Russo generation felt the pull of their Sicilian heritage in the passionate stories and lively traditions that filled their lives. They had grown up with a strong sense of being Italian-Australian, but they longed for a more real connection. They wanted to meet distant relatives, to see the village their family came from, and to taste cannoli in the place it was born. The idea of becoming Italian citizens, of making their link to the island stronger, became a powerful dream. It was a way to honor what their ancestors had given up, and to make sure that the fire of their Sicilian spirit would be passed on to future generations. This shared longing, felt by a new generation across 3 different continents, showed how strong heritage truly is. It was a whisper from the past that grew into a clear and strong call. They didn't want to erase their American, Canadian, or Australian identities. They wanted to make them richer by fully embracing the Italian part of their story. They began to look things up, to ask questions, and to wonder if it was possible to make this deep desire a reality. The journey back to their roots was about to begin, and it started with a single, hopeful question. How? The path to getting back your heritage is often full of complicated rules and confusing legal steps. For the Sposito, Bianchi, and Russo families' descendants, the dream of Italian citizenship seemed both very close and impossibly far away. They looked for help, for someone who could guide them through all the paperwork and turn their deep emotional quest into a practical, step-by-step plan. This is when each of them found Vanessa Munaro of Best of Coaching. Vanessa was more than just a helper. She was a bridge connecting the present to the past, a guide who understood that this journey was about more than just getting a passport. With warmth and skill, Vanessa helped Anne and John Sposito through the process of gathering documents that went back 100 years. She helped them trace their family line back to their great-grandfather in Calabria, finding birth certificates and marriage licenses that were like pieces of a family puzzle. Vanessa's careful way of working turned a scary task into one they could manage. She gave them a personal plan, making the rules clear and offering constant encouragement. For the Spositos, Vanessa was the calm, steady hand that led them through the storm of paperwork, making their dream of reconnecting with Calabria an achievable goal. For the Bianchi family in Canada, Vanessa's guidance was just as helpful. She looked at their family history, confirmed they could apply, and laid out the exact steps they needed to take. She helped them understand the tricky parts of Italian law and got them ready for every stage of applying. Vanessa's smart advice gave them the confidence to move forward, knowing they had an expert on their side. She wasn't just helping them get a document, she was helping them get the freedom to live, work, and study across Europe, creating a future their grandfather Marco could have only dreamed of. Across the world in Australia, the Russo family found in Vanessa a strong supporter for their goal. She understood their deep wish to make their connection to Sicily stronger for themselves and for their children. Vanessa's strategic plan was made just for their situation, dealing with every possible problem before it came up. She was not just someone providing a service, she became a trusted partner in their journey of rediscovery. Her support went beyond paperwork. She shared in their excitement and understood how deeply important what they were trying to achieve was, making the whole process feel like a team effort and very personal. The day finally arrived. With their Italian passports in hand, the Sposito, Bianchi, and Russo families traveled from America, Canada, and Australia to the heart of Italy. They had planned to meet at a villa in Tuscany, a neutral place that showed their shared journey. Under the shade of tall cypress trees, a long wooden table was set. It was loaded with the best of Italy, plates of cured ham and cheese, bowls of handmade pasta, and bottles of local wine that sparkled in the golden afternoon light. Generations came together, from older relatives who had never left Italy to the youngest children, now citizens of both a new world and the old. The air was filled with a beautiful mix of languages and accents, English spoken with American, Canadian, and Australian sounds, mixing with the rich, musical sounds of Italian dialects from Calabria, Veneto, and Sicily. Anne and John Sposito shared stories about their grandfather Giovanni with a distant cousin they had just met. The Bianchi grandchildren laughed with relatives from Veneto, realizing they had the same sense of humor. The Russo family raised their glasses in a toast, their joyful voices echoing the passion of their Sicilian ancestors. It was a scene of pure, complete joy, a celebration of family, strength, and coming home. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the rolling hills, a deep feeling of peace settled over the gathering. They were more than just three separate families. They showed the lasting strength of the Italian spirit. They had overcome distance, time, and hardship to find their way back to each other and to their roots. This meal was not an end, but a new beginning. It was the start of new relationships, new traditions, and a new future where the ocean was no longer a barrier. They were home, and they were together. This beautiful reunion, this amazing journey of finding their past again, is possible for you too. If you feel your Italian heritage calling to you, if you dream of reconnecting with your family's story, Vanessa Munaro is here to guide you. She can help you find your way to Italian citizenship and open the door to your own Tuscan celebration. Your journey home is waiting. To start your story, contact Vanessa for a free chat. Email vanessa@bestofcoaching.com.br, Instagram bestofcoaching.com.br, website https://bestofcoaching.com.br.